It's showtime, folks. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Tuesday. Hope you're having a great start to your day. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. What's up, JoJo?
Just another exciting Tuesday in America's Music City, and we're back. And the Titans have wrapped up practice with the Falcons on day one down there, and depending on who you talk to, oh, boy.
Well, I mean, we only get 90 seconds of reporting, so
Oof.
you know, according to the rules, and
Videoing,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Other than that, you can talk all day long.
And listen, 90 seconds—that's a long time for some people.
It is. Do you really want to watch 90 seconds of Titans football? I'm not sure.
That's a punishment.
I'm not sure we do. And
Dr. Crane can supposedly kill an elk in 90 seconds, so.
Bare hands.
With his bare hands.
You got a hunter's hat on today. What is that thing?
You better watch out. Texas changed me.
I'm telling you, man. You looking good. The hunter's
hat on.
When
were you in Texas?
This past weekend.
You were?
I was, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was celebrating my dad's 60th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah, thank you.
These are things I need to know so I can send shout-outs.
You were off. You were off last week. Did he not know? Did you surprise him?
Yeah, when you asked me at the Omni, I was like, I can't tell you where we're going because I didn't know. And then, that was the whole thing. So, yeah, gotcha. I was even surprised. So, it's kind of cool.
What part of Texas?
San Antonio.
Oh, that's very nice.
And my cousin lives there. So, I didn't know that, which was great. I did know that. I just forgot.
Hold on. How do you not know your cousin lives in Texas?
I knew that he lived in Texas.
I don't know where half my cousins live, so.
But Nick loves his family.
I do love my family. My cousin Jared's a great dude, man. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I didn't even know about.
Okay. In San Antonio?
Yep.
All right, man.
Nice.
Did you go to the basement at the Alamo?
This is the last question. Thanks. Okay.
No, I did not go to the basement of the Alamo. I went in the Alamo church, just not in the basement of the Alamo.
Sad you don't get that joke.
It's cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Sad Appreciate you don't get that joke, man. Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse, the movie.
Oh, you know what? They actually had his bike out front of the Alamo.
There we go. Finally, thank you.
I forgot about that.
All right.
How about that? So the Titans, are you done?
I'm done.
Am I allowed to move on now? So the Titans had their joint practice today. Gentry Estes is going to join us. He is there. Hopefully the report can be longer than 90 seconds, unlike the video that they can only post. But had the joint practices and, reading a few things. Maybe Cam was a rookie today.
Yeah. I mean, I think Teron Davenport has some really good insights what happened, what went down there today. So, but
yeah, I mean, Teron said, let's see, I'm pulling up the notes here. I had them pulled up and then my phone, decided that I needed to redo it. He says, overall takeaway from the Titans' first practice today is not good. They seemed sluggish to start offensively, a lot of balls on the ground, struggled to run the ball in team period early too. Meanwhile, Michael Penix and the Falcons cut up the Titans secondary. It was one practice, so no need to panic, but it wasn't a good day.
Oh, sorry, guys.
So now everybody's going to freak out. Like, oh, God, one bad day.
As they, last week versus the Bucs wasn't great. The game Saturday night wasn't fantastic overall.
I can tell you this, and you can take so much away from what I'm about to say, that last night I played the new Madden game for the first time, and I actually played the Falcons, and Cam threw 5 interceptions. So there you go. That you can base everything on that.
Were they off his back foot to the left side of the field? Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh boy, I tell you, the worst thing so far is because of Shedeur Sanders. That's the worst thing that's going on for Cam Ward because the comparisons are inevitable.
And look, we can sit here and say, don't pay attention to what the others are doing because it has no bearing on your team or your quarterback. And nobody's going to listen to that because everybody's going to go, oh, I mean, Shedeur Sanders, he was the MVP. Oh, he's going to win the Super Bowl this year. And Cam Ward, I mean, he might not even make it through a game. I don't know what we're going to do.
Right. Well, I mean, it happens. And that's people are doing it left and right on social media. And the Jackson Dart.
They're telling it like it is.
They're on Jackson Dart from Saturday for all that. So that's just the way it is.
Guys, it's preseason. It's practice. It's fine.
So I need to see.
Look, he's going to be a rookie this year.
Right. I need to see Friday. He's got to play the first half. You can't. I mean, he's got to play the first half. You got one more preseason game before the real game starts. You got to throw him out to the entire first half. If not, he plays another couple of series again. There's something going on, man.
615-737-1025. That is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're welcome to call or text throughout the show on what we were talking about. We'll get Tim Hasselbeck's evaluation of Cameron Ward through his first preseason game. He'll join us at 1:30 today. So looking forward to that. And also, we're going to do it again. Our Chat GPT college football playoff simulation feels like 98.
Feels like 98. To see if they get it done.
98.
Yeah.
I already know the answer. So we
already did
do
it?
that. Well, yeah. I have to do it ahead of time.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
don't know if on the spur of the moment had those things happen.
So news literally, it used to be news would break at 11 a.m. Now they've pushed it back to 3 p.m.
Yes.
Is when the news will break.
Right.
Literally, as we were getting off the air, the Titans have released Tim Boyle and brought in Trevor Siemian to, I guess, compete with Allen, with Brandon Allen.
I mean, who knows?
I mean,
Right.
Look, I'm just going to be real. We enjoyed having Tim Boyle on the show that one time. If you have a 0.6 rating in a preseason game or a practice or whatever, you probably deserve to get cut.
But they knew this. They knew he did.
Yeah, but did they know 0.6?
He's been on 18 different teams. How old is Trevor Siemian?
I don't know. He was on.
Now
I want to say he was. Oh, how old is he?
Yep.
35.
33.
Because he was on. I think he played one game or appeared in one game in 2015 with the Broncos and has a Super Bowl
He
ring.
does. He sure does.
Yeah. So
was Callahan on that team? The 2015?
Was he?
I think I think he was, right? Because that was Manning's last year at Denver was 2015.
Yeah, but I don't think he has a ring. Hang on. That's a really
He
good.
was on that roster.
Was he?
2015. Offensive assistant or whatever
Yeah,
that title
and
was.
he was.
And did he go? What did Callahan go up for the Broncos?
So he won the Super Bowl. He left there and went to the Detroit Lions.
Okay, for how long?
Quarterbacks coach with them 2016 and 17, and then with the Raiders as the QB coach in 18, and then the Bengals.
Okay. All right. So he's no Simeon for the Broncos and with the Bengals in 23. So he knows him. They've got a little history there together, which is fine. And look, come in and push Brandon Allen. I'm all for that.
With a quarterback, I'm okay with that because even though it's a quarterback that you hope doesn't make a bit of difference,
right?
It never matters. But again, I look at Brandon Allen and now Trevor Siemian as someone that is going to be familiar with this offense and familiar with the terminology. That if Cam Ward makes a mistake, they can say, "Hey, no, it was this." That's all I care about. Be a coach on-field coach.
Yes.
If I have to see you in the game, that's not going to be good. That's not what I want.
No,
so I don't care, But now you got me thinking of like all these quarterbacks that could get cut, like going and tracing them back to Brian Callahan.
Well, I mean, Peyton's not going out there. Osweiler's not going to go out there to do that. I don't.
He's doing TV now, I think.
Yes, he is. Does an okay job too. Remember the great scene? Osweiler's going in the game versus Denver because Peyton's coming out, and then Peyton's like, "Man, I ain't coming out," and he goes in, and Osweiler puts his helmet on. Have you seen that? Yeah. He walks and he sees Peyton. He's like, "What the hell?" And he goes back to the sidelines. And he's done that way.
What did Peyton say?
He said, "Man, I ain't going to the game. It was a terrible game." Because were they bench Manning in 15? We forget that, right? Yeah. Wasn't good.
I don't like to talk about that.
He doesn't like to talk about that at all. But anyway,
his arm was rubber at that point.
It was. But reading the reports in Atlanta from everybody down there, we talked to Gentry at 12:30. Not good.
Yeah, and it's practice.
Not good.
It's one day of practice. I mean, tomorrow will probably be better because that's generally what happens in training camp. That you have a bad day and you have a good day. Now, there is something that concerns me that seems to be a recurring theme when it comes to the Titans and when I read a practice report or I've seen it with my own eyes. I'll tell you that when we come back. It's Chasing Big Joe here on this Tuesday, 615-737-1025. You can call, you can text, you can weigh in. You can also watch us on Twitter at 1025 The Game. Joe, what is our question of the day?
So there are now hotels around Nashville and around the country that if you drive a stick shift, you're not allowed to valet park because the valet parkers do not know how to drive a stick shift. Our question today is, do you know how to drive a stick shift? I need to know if you know how to drive a stick shift. And if you don't, why not? And if you do, how did you learn? Our young Dr. Crane does not know how to drive a stick shift, which is a generational thing.
Yep.
Chaser, to you.
Not well. I can, but not well.
So that means we need to get you on the road in a stick shift.
Yeah, I mean, like I know what to do. I just haven't done it a lot. I'd never had a car with a stick shift. Now, I tell you what's made me better is doing these online racing games because you
Really?
actually have to. You have to clutch and shift and all that stuff. And then
Interesting.
I learned how to do it on the farm down in Mississippi. My uncle had a truck that was a farm truck.
Yeah.
And I was probably like 12 and learned how to do it.
Okay, good. My brother got me out of his truck on I-40.
Because he was like, son, take the truck back up to the house and
Get
load
it
something
done.
up.
Yeah, my brother got me on I-40 in Spence Lane up the hill and said, take it over. I'm like, what are you talking about? I learned how to drive a stick shift on the hill at Spence Lane as the truck was rolling back. He said, if you hit that car behind us, that's on you. So I didn't learn how to hit that. I learned how to drive.
But I mean, the thing is, it's like if you don't do it enough, like yes, I have been taught and stuff, but if you don't do it, then you're probably going to need to be retaught.
Right. Yeah. So,
Like if I got in, I would figure it out pretty quick. I might burn a clutch doing it.
Exactly. You learn how to do it. That's why I think it's a great thing to learn how to drive a stick shift. And now hotels around the country, like if you know how to, you bring a stick shift in here, you cannot valet park because our guys don't know how to do it. That breaks my heart.
So text us, call us throughout the show on that. Do you know how to drive a stick shift? But something that continues to be a recurring theme with the Titans that scares me. We'll discuss that coming up next. Chasing Big Joe on this Tuesday, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Tuesday. Titans down in Atlanta for joint practice. And they're lucky. They don't have to deal with SEC Media Days, Beyonce, the All-Star Game, WWE,
Right.
all at the same time. We got there and like, what the hell is going on down here?
Like, Chase, look at that cowboy hat over there. Look at that. Look at that wrestler. I mean, it was nonsense. It was crazy, man.
I'm just going to say this. I saw some cowboy hats on some people that don't need to be wearing cowboy hats.
Our favorite was we pulled up the hotel and there was a guy leaving the hotel wearing chaps that were, I can't use the word on the radio, but
assless chaps, you can say it.
Okay. And a fishnet shirt and a cowboy hat. And I was like, Chase, there's your Halloween outfit. As you walked by, it was eye-opening, and I wish we had bleach.
Yeah,
we didn't.
Yeah. We'll get back to the question of the day. A lot of you have weighed in. Do you know how to drive a stick shift? And when did you learn? I'm curious of that. But something that I keep hearing when it comes to Titans practice, and we even had a texter say this that I noticed during the break. They were sluggish to start. They didn't have a lot of juice.
Right.
The energy was a little bit off. Does that not concern anybody else?
Oh,
I think it does, but I mean, like, why is that a problem? Now, do people sometimes spend too? Oh man, they came out with a lot of juice. There was a lot of chirping going on and all that stuff. Do people get a little too obsessed with that? Yes, absolutely. But if every day I'm hearing, yeah, they were a little slow to start. It's kind of like we've talked about before last year. One of the biggest problems with the Predators was our start. We had a really bad start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you do that a little bit at the beginning of the season. I'll give you that. If that continues to be a problem in November, that's a bigger issue.
I think it shows that
I know this is still training camp, but like if we're 3 games in and every answer out of everybody's mouth is, yeah, well, we got off to a slow start. That's a problem. And you know who that usually is on? The coach.
Yeah, you're right, man.
That's coaching.
That's been a problem for a long time over there about the St. Thomas Sports. Like, look, guys don't care about this. They're getting paid. They don't care. You think Jeffrey Simmons gives a damn? I mean, be honest.
Yeah, I do. I do think I do.
Full effort?
I think that, yes, there are some cases where a guy gets paid and he quits caring. But here's an example of something. Right now, I think Calvin Ridley does care. I've watched his effort. Now, last year, he was I think there were times where he wasn't interested, and I think it had to do with the quarterback.
It's a joint practice versus the Falcons. Yeah, we sit here and we get, why aren't you excited? Why aren't you fired up? It's a joint practice, man. There's another one tomorrow. It's not a game. And that's the deal. We talk about this all the time. What's your motivation? Why do you get fired up? What do you go? What's your purpose doing out there? It's a joint practice, man. They do this. I mean, it's concerning. I think it is. But my God, how many years have we heard this? It's sluggish. They're tiring. They got off to a bad start. I don't know what the answer is. But listen to Brian Callahan. His words have never inspired me. You know, that's the problem. We grew up on coaches like Ditka and Parcells and people like that who get their point, and Buddy Ryan, who get their point across very quickly, very succinctly, and let you know where you stand. Now it's kind of like, we'll get them tomorrow, guys.
Can I agree and disagree with you at the same time on that?
Yeah.
So you grew up on those coaches.
Yep.
You know, I grew up on the Belichicks and the Fishers and, Bill Walsh at the end. But, you know, like, I think it just there are different ways to do something. Now, where I will agree with you is, I mean, he comes across bland sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only go on what I see. I don't know what he is. You know, the Titans have tried, like they posted that video of him, you know, kind of going like bleep, and like, you know, in the backwards hat and stuff.
Right.
And like, I don't care if he wears his hat backwards or anything. And, you know, I know Colin Cowherd had an issue with it and all that stuff. And it's just like, whatever. But I do see your point of he doesn't show a ton of energy. So therefore the team doesn't have it. Whereas Vrabel, you were ready to run through a wall.
Yeah. Right.
You know, even Malarkey. I think Malarkey had some of that of like, you're ready to let's go play football. And that also had a lot to do with who was on the team too. Kevin Byard had a lot of that.
Yeah,
Derrick Henry
right.
would have a lot of that.
Nobody wants to step up. That's the problem.
Jeffrey Simmons has it, but as we've discussed, I think there's times where Jeffrey Simmons will talk too much, and I think he's kind of been working on that. And so it's all right. Do you always listen to that? But to me, it starts with the coach. The coach is the one that has to set the tone.
Yeah.
And he's got to do a better job of setting that tone.
We had a practice one time at junior college. Within the first 4 periods, it was awful. He called us together and said, practice is over. You're done. You guys are terrible. Coach goes to the locker room, gets his keys, and goes home. We see him drive through the parking lot as we're leaving the practice field. He was that disgusted with us. We're like, oh, God.
You felt like crap, didn't you?
Felt terrible.
Yeah.
He left. He went home. He said, I'm going home. And he went home. We had no meetings. We just sat around. This is during camp. I'm like, what's going on here? So at the same time,
I witnessed something similar.
Guys have got to motivate themselves. It just doesn't. If I have to rely on you to motivate me, it's not going to work. Guys have got to. That's why I like watching the guys on the second and third team. They got stuff to prove, man. They're fighting for their professional lives. I don't mind that. I don't mind doing that. All too often, we focus on 1 or 2 guys that are kind of setting the tone. They're not setting it, and the practice is terrible. I just don't know. I just know there are guys on those second and third deep who are trying really hard to make this football team. That's, to me, where the passion is right now.
Now, the guy I'm not questioning is the quarterback. I mean, that's
I don't hear from him that much more. I mean, you're rookie.
Yeah, I know. But, like, watching – again, you're a body language guy. Watching his body language, I'm good with it. I'm good with what I see. Now, he's going to make mistakes. He's making a lot of them right now. Quite frankly, I'm not going to sit here and root for a guy to screw up every play, but I'm also going to go, all right, is he learning from him? You know, John, yesterday when we were talking to him, I said of, making the mistake, but not making the same mistake twice.
Right.
And then the way he gave the answer of like, in the NFL, you probably are going to make the same mistake twice. It's just, do you do it the 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th time? The problem with Will Levis was he made the same mistake 8 times. He wasn't learning from it. With Cam Ward, does he do it a couple of times?
Yeah.
And then realize, okay, I'm going to adjust this. Like the story came out early in camp that he threw like 3 interceptions to Cody Barton, and he went up to him and said, hey, what are you seeing that I'm doing? And Barton went through every play with him of here's how you're tipping me off.
Right.
Here's what I'm looking for as a defender. That I'm like, okay, because that's a kid that wants to learn and wants to get better.
I think once Cam gets that cachet of making plays happen, you let him go. We talk about Favre all the time. His first year with Holmgren in 92 in Green Bay, he was throwing interceptions, and Holmgren says, why are you doing that? And Favre's like, I'm sorry. He'd do it again. Then it's a touchdown. He's like, I get why you're doing that. There's that give and take. And I think quarterbacks have to have a gunslinger mentality. That's to be successful. You think Mahomes is a gunslinger?
Yeah.
Brady?
Yeah.
Goff?
Yeah.
Stafford? I mean, I think you've got to be a gun. You've got to make mistakes. You've got to make things happen. And if mistakes do happen, that's fine. But the result is you're going to make some big plays go. Favre is a great example of doing things like that. Other quarterbacks as well. Let the gunslinger mentality take over, give him the confidence he needs, and build. That's why you talk about Ridley being so important to him. He's got that guy now that he can go to, and they get on the same page. It could be deadly. But I think let him kind of tweak his thing, let him go through some bad practices, and then that Denver game, man, just pump him up that whole week and say, you're the reason we're going to win today, and let him go.
0943. I'd bet that a lot of people's favorite coaches they ever played for are a-holes instead of nice.
Amen. 100%.
I think the best coaches are the ones that can read their players and know that, all right, I'm going to coach Joe a little bit differently than I'm going to coach Nick. And I'm going to coach Nick a little bit differently than I'm going to coach Chase. But those are the ones that care enough to get to know their players and know what motivates them and makes them tick. Because there are players that don't like being screamed at. They like being corrected, but like they need a little more, especially today's time. And I know you may say that's soft, but
it's
like,
different.
It's different. But like, I mean, I hope you don't mind me saying this. would it be fair to say that your son is probably coached differently than you were coached?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because you're different.
Don't hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
It's a lot of these kids these days. So that I told you, I thought in junior college, the first 2 weeks, my whole name was GD. That's what I thought. And a lot of us did too. I mean, that's the thing. But the guy just coached us so hard and poured so much into us that we respected it and we don't want to let him down. Now, it's different for, we got coaches coming in and out in the NFL and things that are going on, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to get it going. If you can motivate your team, that's great. And if Big Jeff's the guy to do it, he wants to put that team on his back, get it done. But they practice tomorrow versus the Falcons, Vikings next week, but then you got to turn it up for game one. You just got to.
615-737-1025. Lance wants to answer our question of the day real quick on a stick shift. What's up, Lance?
Yeah, I know how to drive a stick shift, but I'm pretty old. So growing up, you'd sit next to your father or your grandfather and, with an old 3 on the tree, if y'all know what that is.
Yeah.
And change the gears. And they wouldn't tell you that you'd have to tell them when to push the clutch in and change a gear, because they tell you need to listen to the engine and tell me when I need to change gears. That's how I learned.
Oh, that's great.
My oldest daughter just wanted a stick shift, and she knows how to drive one. But if you try to go buy a standard shift car now, it costs you more money than an automatic.
Yeah, yeah, they're just not making many of them. Thanks, Lance. Appreciate
Mm-hmm.
you. Yeah, I mean that's the one thing I was thinking. Like, outside of finding something used, can you even go find a stick shift anymore?
I hope you can.
I mean, probably, but like, not many.
I miss driving a stick shift, man. Miss it.
We'll get back into that a little bit later. But coming up next, Gentry Estes of the Tennessean. He's in Atlanta. He will join us for an update from practice. We'll do that next. It's Chasing Big Joe here on this Tuesday, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. The Titans went down to Georgia. They were looking for a game to steal. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Tuesday. The Titans in joint practices with the Atlanta Falcons, and Gentry Estes of the Tennessean is down there and got to witness it all today. Gentry, I'm going to be honest with you. When I keep reading that they were sluggish at the start, that really bugs me because I feel like that's a theme.
Yeah, it is. And they were sluggish at the start, and they weren't very good the whole time. I'm going to be honest. I think that kind of lets them off the hook a little bit to blame it on a slow start. It was a rough practice. I don't really see any reason to sit here and say otherwise. Before I got on the phone with you guys, I was sitting here thinking, I was like, what good can I say about that practice? And there really isn't that much. The Falcons outplayed the Titans quite a bit on both fields. Okay,
so let's start with Cam Ward specifically. How did he look today?
Hit or miss, but they're late in the, he threw a couple interceptions, kind of there at the end. He threw a ball that was tipped by A.J. Terrell, went way up in the air and got intercepted. It was a lot more difficult for Cam Ward than it was for Michael Penix. Put it that way. When you're watching both fields, if Cam made a play, it was usually him getting out of the pocket and getting out of system and just making something happen. What the Falcons were doing was very much in system. Penix, Kirk Cousins, just being surgical on what they were doing against the Titans defense. And I'm not going to lie, guys, it was alarming, the gap between the teams today. Now, you can put that on several things for the Titans. You can put that on the fact they've been on this road trip now for about a week. And when they showed up, they did kind of look like a team that had been on the road for a week and was ready to be home. And, we talk about slow start. Maybe that did contribute to just a poor day today. They look like a team that was ready to be home.
Talking to Gentry Estes from the Tennessee down in Atlanta today for the Titans practice. You retweeted Kuharski, what he said about what Jarvis Brownlee said about practice. He said it was all right. It was BS. We can play a lot better than that. At least the guys are accountable. I like hearing that when they said, we suck today. I don't mind hearing that, Gentry.
Yeah, there really wasn't a whole lot else they could say. Let's be honest. They just didn't do very much well, and I don't think the Falcons weren't phenomenal. I think they had a pretty good day. I think Penix in particular had a good day. He had a few very nice throws to beat the Titans over the top for big plays, but I don't see. And the players were put in a little bit of a rough spot too, Joe, because Callahan did not speak after this practice. None of the coaches did. So it was kind of up to the players to do that. And had they tried to say otherwise, I just don't think they could today. We all saw what happened.
I know you talked about they look like they've been on the road, but I just want to add this. They fly first class. They stay in first class accommodations. They get fed 5-star meals. I don't feel sorry for professional athletes on the road. Does that make sense?
Well, no. Obviously, the place they're staying in a pretty nice hotel near the Falcons facility. So that's certainly true. But I don't know. They just looked, when the team showed up this morning and they're walking out to the field, I was just standing there, having a conversation and just say, they just feel, they just look like a team that's been on the road for a while. They look like a team that's just kind of tired of this.
So you knew going into practice, you had that feeling like, oh God, this is going to, and when you got that before practice starts, Gentry, and you're a smart guy, it's going to be a bad day for that football team.
Well, and it kind of builds on itself, right? But the Falcons facility, there's a big hill in the back and all the fans are sitting up there. And there were actually quite a few fans. They had a pretty good turnout today. And so the Falcons are coming out, making big plays. There's a lot of cheers. The Falcon players are celebrating when they score touchdowns. It kind of builds on itself when the momentum goes against you. And look, I'm sitting here saying it was just 100% awful. It was. If you went through, you could probably pick out some good plays here or there. But to me, it was just from the standpoint of, okay, you got two fields going at once, and you look at the field with the Titans offense, and everything looks so difficult for them, and everything looks so easy for the Falcons offense. And it was just kind of that way for most of the time.
Gentry Estes is with us from the Tennessee. And how much of Lloyd Cushenberry did we see today?
Not a lot in the team stuff, but he was out there, and we spoke to him. after practice, he said the goal was to be ready for week one. I think that's encouraging. And, and honestly, if I was to sit here and say what part of this preseason has encouraged me, what part of this preseason with the Titans has led me to reconsider my thought that this team was just not going to be very good. And the only answer I have on that has been the offensive line. I do feel like the offensive line is better from last year to this year. They played well in the preseason game in terms of what they were picking up, what Tampa wanted to try to do. Cam Ward really wasn't touched while he was out there. You get Cushenberry back, and I think that's another, it's obviously a big piece for what they want to do. And I think the offensive line has been a bright spot in a preseason where there really haven't been a whole lot of them yet.
Well, that's at least encouraging to hear. Gentry Estes is with us. There was a report, I guess, last week or a couple weeks ago, Jeremy Fowler from ESPN, that the Titans might look around for another quarterback, whether it was a trade or waiver wire or something like that. Ultimately, they released Tim Boyle yesterday, signed Trevor Siemian to come in and be that third quarterback on the roster. Do you think that this was just basically what they had seen out of Boyle, just got confirmed with a 0.6 quarterback rating in the preseason game, or what do you think the logic was in bringing in Siemian?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any reason to think it was anything but that. I think, when you see – I don't see how anyone could have watched the end of that game the other night and thought to yourself, wow, that's an NFL quarterback. I mean, he really didn't look like he should be an NFL quarterback. And we say that kind of tongue in cheek, but you don't normally see that. Usually, it was pretty glaring how overmatched he seemed to be by that moment. So I think if you're the Titans, you take a look at it. And then Trevor Siemian, to be fair, I think he had a pretty good day today. It's tough when these practices are going on because you're watching one or the other. And I didn't really get a good look at Siemian, but I was told he actually did pretpretty well today.
We're talking to Gentry Estes from the Tennessee. I'm laughing because talking to you, it's like talking to my son when he's in high school. Hey, how was your day, buddy? And he tried to find something good to talk about. And we're asking you, like, give us something that happened good down there today. And we got a question on the board, Gentry. It says, be honest, how bad can this be for the Titans in 2025? I mean, we're trying to help this football team out with positivity, but I just got a really bad feeling, Gentry, after, reading your stuff today. It wasn't great Saturday. I know it's still camp. I know all that stuff, but I've been around a long time seeing how some of the stuff can just get worse and worse and worse. I guess, how bad can it be? I mean, that's the question.
I think at this point, you're looking for Cam Ward to kind of save the day a little bit.
Oof.
I do. I feel like if he comes in, a good quarterback can change everything, and I'm not ruling that out for this team, especially as the year goes along. Maybe by November, December, that he's playing pretty well. But I do think that's kind of going to be what it takes. I mean, there's just no reason to really look at this right now and think this is going to be a good team. And I know people don't want to hear that. I mean, this is the time of the year for positivity and, to kind of try to be optimistic about what's going on. But, and guys, that isn't just because of what I saw in Atlanta today. I kind of thought that the whole time. There really hasn't been, there's just not anything you've really seen from this team to kind of argue with the idea they're not going to be very good. And, that's about all you can say at this point.
You're trying, man. We love you. You're trying.
Along those lines, though, Gentry, if it is week 3, or, I mean, the story would be in Patriots week 4 or something like that, 5, 6.
Yeah. Patriots more mid-October.
Yeah, mid-October. But let's say around week 3 or week 4, that's when he has the moment where we're all like, there he is. That's the number 1 overall pick. Are we all patient enough to wait that long? Because I think so many want to see it now and want to see it in week 1.
I mean, maybe not, but I think that's how it's going to go. I think the Titans, we saw, what they had behind him at quarterback the other night. So I think it's Cam Ward. If there is a positive to this from the standpoint of, okay, you're not really expecting to win a whole lot this year, it's that there will be some time for Cam Ward to learn and make mistakes and really grow into the job. I do think that will happen. I think Cam Ward over the course of the season that's really the measuring stick to me. Is he better in December than he is in September. Is this team improving or just completely falling apart? Are they're beating themselves? Are they still making all these mistakes and turnovers and penalties, and it's just ugly? Or are they improving? Or is there signs that they're starting to I think the big problem last year, and I think, going off the Mike Vrabel era, Mike Vrabel was very good with the Titans at taking a team and making it better than the sum of its parts.
Yep.
There was a year where that, they had all the injuries and they signed a record number of guys and had to bring in all these people, and they were still a pretty good football team. I think what bothered everyone so much last year was they were not as good as the sum of their parts. When you look at the roster, maybe this wasn't a playoff team, but they shouldn't have been as bad as they were. And if you can get to a point where you're not beating yourself, you're not making these silly penalties and turnovers and all the things the Titans did, couldn't cover kicks, all the things they couldn't do last season. If you just are a solid team that plays solid football and gives yourself a chance to win games, I think they'll win more games. But we just haven't seen enough this preseason to really feel like they're going to be much better than last year, like I said, with the exception of the O-line.
Talking to Gentry Estes from the Tennessee, and Gentry, it's a theme on all the shows throughout, here at 102.5. It's like, well, if it starts out bad, what happens to Brian Callahan? I would hate to be a football coach knowing that if it starts out bad, I'm gone. And I'm telling you, it's in the back of their minds. It's got to be, because everybody talks about it.
Yeah, no, and I think both of our teams are in that. Our pro teams in Nashville are in that same boat. I think the Preds are going to run into that too, the first part of their season. And it is a tough situation when you know that there can be consequences pretty quickly like that. But it is what it is. I mean, they're going to have to do something to. I think Brian Callahan's a good coach. I think he's a good man. I think from being around him, he's a good person. All that good stuff. But at some point, he's going to have to show that he's an NFL coach and he can get this done. And last year wasn't enough.
Very good stuff. As much as I know it was tough, but you did a great job, Gentry, to put lipstick on that pig, or however you want to put it. So we appreciate it.
You bet. Take care, guys.
Yep, you too. Gentry Estes from the Tennessean joining us here on the show. Not a good day is basically what we heard from him. 615-737-1025. So are you nervous? You're nervous now?
About
them having a bad day? Like, is this just going to send everybody into a tizzy?
I got to see tomorrow, man. I got to see tomorrow. And that's the thing about football.
There's always hockey, tomorrow.
Unlike hockey, you have a bad game Saturday, you're playing again on Monday.
Yeah.
Football, you next Sunday. The week,
yeah. It's got to sit with you.
It's got to. Tomorrow's got to be a hell of a lot better. 180.
615-737-1025. That is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. This September, Tim McGraw will be performing at Trinetics Rock the Cradle in Nashville, a meaningful event supporting newborns and moms at Ascension St. Thomas Midtown. Get your tickets now at rockthecradlenashville.org. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
How long do you think that onboarding process, getting back will be for you?
Not sure. I'm just listening to what training staff is telling me and what the coach's plan is. So I'm not 100% sure of the timeline, but I'm going to just work every day to get back.
Mentally, are you at a point where you're not even thinking about the Achilles?
Yeah, I think I'm fine. It's been a journey. It's been a long, tough 9 months, football and in life. So I'm to a point where I'm just ready to get back to playing football.
That was Lloyd Cushenberry via Paul Kuharski's Twitter after practice today. Titans down in Atlanta with a joint practice with the Falcons, chasing Big Joe on a 2-5 the game. It is funny. I never thought, I hoped, but I never thought we would get to a point where you ask somebody the bright side about the Titans, and Gentry Estes said the offensive line.
Hey, that's crazy, right? I thought he was going to say the bright side was practice is over. But no. But look, let's be honest for a second. If that offensive line is good, right?
Yep.
And Cam finds a balance between, getting comfortable and getting a relationship with Ridley and understanding the offense, there's some possibilities here. I know we're laughing at one practice in Atlanta, how bad can it be? I get that. But the defense is a whole other subject. But if Cam get comfortable and can be protected, Tim Hasselbeck said it last week and said, if they can protect him, good things can happen. That's on any team. So, yeah, there are some positive things that can go there. We just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and that's you might not necessarily see it in training camp. That's why I was asking. Does everybody have the patience that if the moment when it's like, oh, there he is, hits in week 3 or week 4 or even later in the season, you have to be prepared for that, and you probably need to be okay with that because that means he's learning. And then you truly would have the answer or be close to the answer of, all right, this is the guy we need to build around. Here are our weak spots. And yes, there are plenty of them. And then you look at next year's draft and you continue that process. Because again, they told you what they were going to do. Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi told you we're going to build through the draft. We're going to use free agency, to
plug in
bit
holes,
to plug in some holes, but you can't build through free agency. You have to build through the draft. And they started that process this year with these draft picks. Now the hope is that they all show signs of development and growth.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And that, you got Latham, you got Skoronsky looking good. Zeitler's still got a lot of gas in the tank. I haven't heard Dan Moore Jr.'s name once. Love it. If I never hear that guy's name again,
you know what? I'm proud of you because you got it right.
Thank you. Time. Yeah, right. So if I never hear those guys again, we're good to go. And you get a little something with Gunnar Helm working for you. There's a lot of upside here to go. I'm worried to death about that defense.
Yeah.
I am worried to death about that defense because I still think in the back of their mind, they want to trade Jeffrey Simmons. I'm telling you, man, get some value out of that. The team's not going anywhere. Other than that, I don't know what they got, man.
Well, I think the only way they would consider that is if Tavondre Sweat has a big jump this year, then they could look at that and consider it and make Sweat the big guy in the middle and see what you could get for Jeff. But I don't think they're thinking that way right now. They might be later, but not right now. 615-737-1025, Viking Matt. The whole Titans season will be a bad day. Can't wait, but hopefully this will help Cam for the future.
Right.
He's probably right.
Exactly. That's exactly right with that. Go out tomorrow and make more mistakes, show some positive things, but we talk about Friday night. What do you want to see from him? I want to see the whole first half. I want to see the whole first half from Cam Ward. And maybe that's the plan, to build him up, let him come back out of halftime and run it. Why not? Why not see that? I'd love to see that.
Coming up next, there's one SEC team that might be in trouble when it comes to their quarterback. Plus, feels like 98. We'll do that in the in hour number 2. Chasing Big Joe plus Tim Hasselbeck at the bottom of the hour. 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Tuesday. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. Hope you're having a great start to your day. So with this next subject, I just hear Homer Simpson in my head going, because you've got a gambling problem.
We shouldn't laugh.
I know we shouldn't.
All right.
But we there's I guess John Mateer, who is the Oklahoma quarterback. He was at Washington State and transferred in this year. There are now some gambling allegations against him because screenshots surfaced of his Venmo account and putting money into a betting account.
Yes.
And basically now there's did he bet on college football? Which could be a really big problem for Oklahoma this year because he just transferred in and he's their quarterback.
Oh, all right. This happened when he was at Washington State, correct?
Yeah, and actually, the pictures show Mateer paying someone in 2002 with the description of the transaction being sports gambling UCLA versus USC. The 22 season marked Mateer's first year with Washington State, meaning he was not allowed to gamble on college football. Mateer's Venmo activity has since been removed or made private. This is according to a report with CBS.
Is this not college football's worst nightmare?
I think it's sports' worst nightmare. I mean, this is,
okay,
and we knew when it became, legal to have the apps, and we got it here in Tennessee, and a lot of states have the apps and everything, that it was going to be, there were going to be more of these stories coming out. And we've seen players in the NFL, we've seen players for the Titans get popped for it.
We have. And I what's the fine line of thinking, all right, I can tell you all day in the face, Chase, can't gamble. But the lure, is like, oh, it's there. It's on your phone.
Right.
Go in the parking lot and do it on your phone. And so it's just something that I think it's going to be, I think every meeting on a college football campus to this thing, don't gamble. But man, it's easier said than done.
Pete Thamel is all over this. He says, have been told to expect a statement from John Mateer this afternoon that denies any involvement in gambling. He's at Oklahoma football practice and is expected to put something out in the near future. He said more on this. With OU officials vetting John Mateer and his Venmos that reference sports gambling, there's a long way to go and see if he did anything wrong. Hypothetically, a case that involves a student athlete wagering on his or her own sport would unfold this way per the NCAA rules. He goes on to say, in a hypothetical case, any eligibility ruling, the NCAA would come as part of the reinstatement process. Here's the rule. If a student athlete wagers on their own sport at another school, education on sports wagering rules and prevention will be required as a condition of reinstatement, and the loss of 50% of one season of eligibility will be considered.
Yeah. So
if they discover anything,
yeah,
he's going to sit out at least half the year. Which, with a team like Oklahoma that is already, people are looking at their coach and thinking, he might not be the guy, and they may not be a good team. You lose your quarterback, that's an issue.
Yeah, thank you. Dale texts in and says, did the bets he placed, at least did he win? God, you guys are terrible.
That's a great question.
Real quick, though, this is nothing new. I sent this to the group text last night that in 1963, Paul Hornung and Alex Karras from the NFL, a major scandal erupted, and Paul Hornung and 6 other stars suspended from football indefinitely in April of 1963 by Commissioner Pete Rozelle for betting on NFL games and associating with undesirable persons. Paul Hornung went out and said, I did this. They were suspended for an entire year. So to think this is just happening now, no, it's been happening for 50, 60, 70 years, at least.
Okay, so right, it has, and we all know the Pete Rose scandal. Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame because he was banned from baseball.
Correct.
For betting on baseball,
yeah,
including games that he played in. And so, now, again, there's no evidence to say that he threw games, but everybody's always going to say, well, what if? Now, if he wasn't the hit king, I think you could question a lot more. But, so that really put it in everybody's mind with such a big scandal.
Yeah.
So now you have this in prominent college football. I mean, the SEC can, they're going to step in at some point. I mean, the NCAA is doing their thing right now, which will take 5 years.
Yeah.
So
How many college football coaches had a meeting today and said, promise me to their star players, promise me you're not doing it. Promise me you're not doing this.
134 in Division I,
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, I would say around that.
Yeah. So, we've talked about this. Like for me, calling MTSU football games, I can't gamble.
Yeah.
I can't, because I'm considered an insider, even though I don't know anything. But I can't do that. I love calling MTSU football games. I'm not going to screw that up. So with me and having spotlight on just a small idiot like myself, I'm not doing that. I couldn't imagine the pressure on these kids to like, hey man, because again, it's right there on. I could place a bet within 2 minutes, but I'm not going to do that. But for these guys, and the
problem is they think, oh, I won't get caught. They don't realize that it's pretty easy to trace an IP address. I mean, that was what happened to who was the Titans offense?
Petit Frere.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you, how'd that happen?
Because he was on the Wi-Fi, I guess, or the G. They could track his phone of where he was, and so he was in the facility. He wasn't betting on the NFL. I think it was a college football bet, but he was in the facility.
Yeah,
and that's. I mean. From what I understand, like if you're an NFL team employee, like you can't even really walk in a casino, like when you go to Vegas. I mean, in season, I think off season you can, but
we had the great Coach Fisher tell us that. Remember, he said that him and Mike Shannon went to a golf tournament.
Oh yeah, and he
in
had
Vegas.
Yep.
And NFL's like, why are you golfing here? And he's like, we're in a golf tournament,
right?
And they're like, no, it's a
pretty
good story.
Yeah. So I mean, they are. Kudos to the NFL because they take it seriously, and I would assume the NCAA and the SEC and Oklahoma, they're all going to take it seriously too. But I would imagine today, right before practice, you heard a lot of men. I know it's real easy to pull up a draft duel or a Fan Kings or whatever it's called on your cell phone. That's Bill Belichick probably saying that.
Yeah, right.
But we don't bet on football. I wouldn't bet on you guys right now anyway. But you'll get in trouble if you bet on football.
I'm asked, what could I bet on if I wanted to? I think I can bet on horse racing.
So you
NASCAR.
So you can't even bet on the NFL?
Nothing. Anything that's tied to the NCAA.
Well, how is the NFL tied to the NCAA?
Where did Cam Ward go to college?
Okay.
Played the NCAA. He's tied to the NCAA. You're tied to college football.
But he's not an active player.
But you're still from that where? I mean, you're still considered in part of that. Can't do it. So I can do horse racing.
I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but
I can do horse racing and car racing because there's not a funnel or a farm league.
That's actually not true.
Set up
because there are numerous, including a former MTSU football player, that are on pit crews. So how is that not tied to the NCAA?
I don't know.
I'm just using their logic against them.
I have no idea. I can bet on that.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're saying that you can't bet on an NFL game that has no bearing on college football now. But you can bet on NASCAR, even though you see what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like it just see the NCAA making stuff up as they go.
Well, I think it's from. And I'm not going to question it. If you can't do it, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it.
I mean,
plus I'm not in debt.
Sure.
I know people very close to me who are in a lot of debt because of sports gambling, and they're not finding a way out. So I think it needs to be talked about maybe a little bit more about here's what happens when you go a little deep into that. And, we all know that. We all know that. Maybe there should be examples shown to you that here's what can happen.
I always go back to the Herm Edwards, with the rookie symposium, one car, one house, one girlfriend, you don't need the big shiny watch. Like you take care of your money, and that kind of thing would matter so much now.
Oh yeah. What did Skoronski tell us? I asked him after we had him on. I said, do you go home and do you watch NFL Network? And he's like, no, man, I just go straight home, get something to eat, watch TV, go to bed.
Yep.
I'm like, wish I had that advice when I was 24. God. Terrible.
615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com. Michael in Madison says 200 plus head coaches all around the country today collectively said at meetings, I can't believe I have to say this, but do not effing gamble.
That's a good way to get it out there.
Like, I would be curious if the coach had that conversation with his team today.
They've had it.
Yeah.
They've had it. Usually it's somebody, a law enforcement guy comes in and talks to them.
Yeah.
I'm not happening up there, but in most cases they come in and say, here's what you can and cannot do. It just, if you're questioning it, just don't do it. Just don't do it and get away from it. Now, this is all alleged, because if he actually put it on his Venmo account that this is for gambling, and there was like another one on there he put for a Mexican soccer league or something crazy. There's no way he bet on that. But I mean, you can go on that app, right? You can bet on anything in the world.
Yeah.
Anything.
You can. It's that easy. Coming up next, we did this yesterday with the 1936 college football season. Now we're going to ask ChatGPT to simulate the college football playoff in 1998, in which the Tennessee Volunteers went undefeated and won the national championship. Can they do it again, hypothetically? We'll talk about that next. Have a little fun here on Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 1025 The Game.
security, and his football team has won a national championship. And it's fun to see, and I congratulate him. Bobby Bowden, of course, is a longtime legend, and he too will congratulate Phil Fulmer, because the Tennessee Volunteers felt they might very well be a team of destiny. They talked about it quietly, discussed it with the kind of respect that you had to have.
How about that, Joe? Does that take you back?
I love it because it's Keith Jackson, and I was actually at that game.
Were you?
Fiesta Bowl, January 4th,
1999.
1999. Yeah.
I was watching at my grandmother's house. And I remember one of my grandmother's good friends had a shirt that said, Tennessee, the only team I hate more than Notre Dame, or something like that. He was going for Florida State. Did not happen that night.
Nope.
But so having a hypothetical, we had this yesterday with the 1936 season, because that was the year of the first AP poll. We decided to ask ChatGPT about the 1998 season and using the college football playoff rules. Now, in real life, Tennessee went, what was it, 14-0?
They 13-0, 12, 13, 14-0. You're right.
And won the first BCS national championship against Florida State. So this is what ChatGPT came up with. The top 12 seeds. Thank you, Dr. Crane. Tennessee was the number 1 overall seed, 12-0 in the SEC. Going into the playoff. Florida State, the ACC champion, at 11-1. Who'd they lose to?
Who was that?
Florida State.
Did they lose to? God, I knew you'd do this to me. Keep talking. I'll figure it out.
The 3 seed, Kansas State, the Big 12 North champion, but they lost in the Big 12 title game, but they still got in there. Ohio State won the Big 10 at 10-1. UCLA won the Pac-10 at 10-1. Arizona at 11-1 was the Pac-10 runner-up. Florida at 9-2, Georgia Tech at 10-2, Texas A&M, the Big 12 champion at 11-2, Wisconsin at 10-1, Tulane won the WAC at 11-0, and then Air Force at 11-1. It's the top 12 seeds.
FSU lost to NC State that year.
Oh, wow.
Game 2 in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Your first round of byes were Tennessee, Florida State, Kansas State, Ohio State. Round 1. The 12 seed Air Force at UCLA. UCLA's offense with Cade McNown is too much for Air Force triple option. UCLA wins 45-21.
Okay. All right.
The 11 seed Tulane at Arizona. Woo! Sean King at Tulane.
He was.
Tulane's Sean King makes it fun early, but Arizona's Desert Swarm defense controls late. Arizona wins 34-24.
Off of that season, Tommy Bowden took the Clemson job in 99 because they were 12-0.
The 10 seed Wisconsin heads to the Swamp to take on Florida. Ron Dane runs wild early, but Doug Johnson and Florida's wide receiver corps break it open. The winner, Florida, 31-20.
Doug Johnson. Oh, man.
A 9-8 matchup, Texas A&M at Georgia Tech. It was a close one. George Hamilton of Georgia Tech edges A&M in a thriller. Georgia Tech wins 27-24 in overtime.
I think the quarterback of A&M was Brandon Stewart, who was at Knoxville with Peyton and left because Peyton beat him out of the job.
Huh, interesting. All right, we move to the second round, the quarterfinals, which will be played at the Sugar Bowl. This is the Sugar Bowl. Georgia Tech against Tennessee. T. Martin, Peerless Price, and Jamal Lewis overpowered Georgia Tech. Tennessee wins going away 38-17.
Pretty accurate.
And then in the Orange Bowl, Florida State.
Oh, wow.
Third meeting of the year, they split. This says they split 1-1.
They might have played in the bowl game.
Yeah, could have. FSU's defense shuts down Florida late. Florida State wins 27-20.
I'm curious now about that.
Well, keep in mind, this is a reenactment, so, I mean,
yeah,
it might not be completely right. Arizona against Kansas State in the Fiesta Bowl. Chris McAllister and Arizona's defense slow Michael Bishop, but K-State gets it late, wins 24-21.
Michael Bishop was a force in 98 in college. That's a good team.
Then the 5-4 matchup, at the Rose Bowl, UCLA against Ohio State. Ohio State's David Boston dominates the UCLA secondary. Ohio State wins 31-24.
Boston was a beast.
We move to the semifinals, a familiar matchup in the real world. Ohio State against Tennessee. Ohio State actually matches up well, and it's close until the fourth, but then Jamal Lewis seals it. Tennessee wins 28-24.
Oh, okay. All right.
To advance to the national championship. Kansas State takes on Florida State. Peter Warwick explodes for 150 yards receiving as Florida State beats K-State 30-21 to set up, once again, Tennessee against Florida State in the national title game. It doesn't tell me where this is, where it would have put the national title game. But
all right.
Where was it? It was a Fiesta Bowl, yeah.
Yep.
Tennessee against Florida State. The real-life 98 Fiesta Bowl matchup happens anyway, but now both teams have playoff battle scars. Tennessee's defense forces key turnovers, and Peerless Price's long touchdown catch seals it. The Vols win 31-21 to win the national championship and go 14-0.
So nothing really earth-shattering.
Nope.
So does ChatGPT think that Tennessee absolutely, because they won on the field, so
yeah,
they back up the fact that Tennessee
it does
won.
say, if you want, I can run a what-if simulation with Kansas State avoiding their Big 12 title game collapse, which could change the bracket entirely. That might produce a very different champ. Would you like me to run that alternate playoff?
Then it says, also, I can come at late at night and kill you because I'm ChatGPT. Sure, run it. Why not?
All right.
Was it? Didn't they? That was an interesting year because Tennessee had to have 4 things go in their favor to get there, and they all happened.
So this has Kansas State as the number 1 seed. Tennessee is the 2, but both went 12-0. First round matchups: Air Force at UCLA. UCLA wins 41-20. Tulane at Arizona. Arizona wins 34-21. Texas A&M at Florida. Florida wins 35-17. Wisconsin at Georgia Tech. Wisconsin wins 27-20. Quarterfinals, Wisconsin falls to Kansas State 38-24. Tennessee beats Florida 27-23. Arizona loses to Florida State 31-17. Ohio State beats UCLA 30-21. Kansas State in the semifinals beats Ohio State 28-24. Tennessee beats Florida State in the semifinal 31-27. And in the national championship, Tennessee beats Kansas State 28-24.
All right. Either way you look at it, Tennessee wins the national championship.
So there you go.
Good for them.
Fun with ChatGPT.
By the way, Tennessee did go 13-0. I thought they played 14. They only played 11 games that year. And then they were
So here's the national title game breakdown that they do. K-State jumps to a 14-0 lead with Bishop hitting Darnell McDonald deep. Tennessee responds with Jamal Lewis pounding the ball and Peerless Price making plays. In the fourth, Al Wilson forces a fumble that Tennessee turns into a winning touchdown. And I could see all of that happening.
All happened. It's funny that the 98 schedule for Tennessee, they opened at Syracuse. Then they had a week off. Then they played Florida, beat them that huge game up there. Then they had at Auburn, at Georgia, and Alabama. And they rolled through that. They pounded Georgia and Athens. And then for those who remember, Alabama was hanging tough. And then Peerless Price ran a kickoff back for a touchdown, opened the game up, and then the rest is history. That's 1998.
Who was Alabama's coach in 98?
That would have been Mike Dubose.
DuBose.
I think Stallings left after 96 or 97 right in there and was gone. So that was a special year, man. And that's also the Clint Sterner year when he dropped the ball on the ground.
Oh, yeah. Like they very well could have lost to Arkansas.
Yep.
They had the field goal against Florida to beat Florida.
Yep. God, that's another lifetime ago, man.
I know. Feels like 98. So
it does. You want to feel old? I heard listen to Jake's show today talking about high school seniors, about John Gruden not knowing who he was because Gruden won the Super Bowl in 2002 at Tampa Bay. He says, high school seniors now were born in 2007, 2008. And I was like, Jake, I'm going to turn your show off. I can't. That's just that's tough, man. But he's right.
If I missed that part, I would have walked in and be like, Jake, we need to talk.
Yeah, right, Jake? Come on, man.
Come on now. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, Tim Hasselbeck will join us. We'll get his thoughts on Cam Ward's first preseason game, practices, and so much more. Later today, On 94.9 The Fan, the Nashville Sounds will take on Durham. The first pitch at 5:35. Coverage also available in the Game Nashville app and at theGameNashville.com. Sounds Baseball, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
Hey, I know it's not easy to talk about, but if you're battling anxiety or depression, please listen to this. For the last 2 years, we have been on a mental health mission on the Chase and Big Joe show. We tell you that if you are struggling, please talk to someone. Talking to somebody saved my life. And if you're in that dark place, I want you to know that help is just around the corner. We're so excited. We've partnered with Unity Psychiatric Care, a wonderful place here in Middle Tennessee for you to get well, and it works. Just go to thegamenashville.com, click on the Chase and Big Joe show, and there you'll see a link to Unity Psychiatric Care. So many have reached out to us in these last 2 years. Now we have a partner that cares about you. And listen, you do not have to go through any of this alone. You can call 1-888-508-8002. That's 1-888-508-8002. And listen, we love you guys. We want you well. We tell you all the time, our world's a better place because you are here, and here's the help. Again, go to GameNashville.com, click on the Chase and Big Joe tab, and you'll see all the information you need for Unity Psychiatric Care information. Please, please talk to someone if you're going through that dark cloud right now, and know that help is just around the corner, and you do not have to go through any of this alone.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Fat Bottom Brewing Company. Join Fat Bottom this Saturday for their Lucky 13 anniversary party at 844th Avenue North in Nashville. It's a full day of casino-themed fun, live tattoos from Black 13, face painting, balloon art game, and of course, ice cold beer. Get a $100 gift card, half off while supplies last, by going to theGameNashville.com/deals. Plus, don't miss their Lucky 13 anniversary party this Saturday at Fat Bottom Brewing Company. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Tuesday. And every Tuesday in around now, we talk to Tim Hasselbeck, ESPN NFL analyst, and of course, the head coach at Innsworth High School. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. Let's just start it with this. Cam Ward makes his preseason debut, 2 series. He does lead a touchdown drive in the second series. That's capped off by a Tony Pollard run. I thought there was some good, there was some bad, there was some mid, as he likes to say. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, I think it was fine. I think I don't know. I get always this time of year of the overreaction to preseason stuff, and I think early on, I think I learned that preseason games don't count, but they matter. But then not making them matter so much, right? Like when I was in Washington, I remember, there was a game played in Japan, and like just at the time, the Washington offense was amazing. And then all of a sudden you get to the season and it's like, we couldn't move the ball against anybody. And you think, well, like what happened? And like, well, part of what happened is it was just the preseason, which is a very different preparation. It's a very different sample size. So I think it was fine. I don't think it was amazing. I don't think it was terrible or mid or any of those things. I think it was just like, okay, couple series, and okay, like hopefully we learn some things, not just from his reps, but from, meaning Cam Ward's reps, but like everyone else's reps as well, and that there's growth. So I think I would kind of characterize it that way. So I don't want to discount, Chase, that it wasn't the Anthony Richardson, hey, you had
Sure.
no idea that you were hot, you got blasted and busted up your finger. It's obviously way better than that. But I don't think we need to name him Mr. August yet either.
You kind of mentioned something there, like how when you were playing, and even your brother, probably you've talked about this with him in practice and training camp, in these preseason games. I would assume there are going to be things you're going to try a little bit differently because it doesn't count, and you're trying to get better and you're trying to learn than you would in a regular game. Is that a true statement?
I think it depends on who you are. I think if you're a starter, or you're somebody that's planning on being a starter and you have a solid position, I think you can approach it that way. Yes. I think if you're a guy that is, trying to prove your worth to the team and make the roster, then no, you don't do that. So, but I think it's just a very different perspective, depending on kind of what the expectation is for you that season and kind of what your standing is on the team. So for a young quarterback, yeah, like, all right, we call this pass concept, and okay, like that's a throw that I think I can make. I'm going to try to make that throw. It didn't work out. Like, okay, like, you're not going to end up on the waiver wire, the following week. Whereas, for some players, like, you do if you try to go outside of what you've been coached to do to make a play.
Talking to Tim Hasselbeck on the Chase and Big Joe show. Tim, you ready for these great questions I got for you?
I am.
Well, good.
I appreciate you emailing them to me first.
You are so welcome, my friend. All right, there's only 3 preseason games. One's gone. There's only 2 left. Do you need to see Cam Ward play an entire game or no?
Not an entire game, but I do think there's an element of playing one series in the second half after a halftime. Just like, part of it is just like the mechanics and the routine of it. And, it may sound, somewhat silly, like, well, it's just halftime. Like, what's the big deal? But, for a quarterback, there is an element of going through your routine. You play a half, who knows how the half ends? Does it end in a 2-minute drive? Does the other team have the ball? Like, you don't know what it is. You go into halftime. Okay. Like, what is that routine like? And then are you now getting the football back to start the second half, or are you waiting till the defense gets off the field to have another drive? And so, not just for the quarterback, but like the entire offense as a unit to say, all right, whatever the real time is, hey, it ends up being 23 minutes, 27 minutes, 34 minutes between the last time that you were out there on the field. Like, I do think there's an element of that I think it was important for players to go through.
There was a time at camp, early in camp, they asked him why he's doing certain things, and he said, these are things I'd never do in a game. I hate that when they say to him, it's like, do some things in the preseason you wouldn't do in the game. I just find that dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a difference between like, hey, I know I would never do this, to this is a point of emphasis that we're working on today. So like, take this as an example. If you say, look, we need to find more explosives on offense. Okay. And so one of the things that we're going to do to find more explosives is, look, we're going to give guys a chance to make a play on the football down the field. And some of them we realize maybe some contested catches, but we got to find out if our guy can go up and make a play over their guy. And so, all right, in the quarterback meeting room, be like, look, here's the deal. Like, if we call double go and we got a guy out there, like, let's give him a chance. Let's keep it in bounds. Let's let him get his hands on it. Like, whatever it is, like, that's the coaching point. That's the point of emphasis today. Okay. Well, I'm going to do that. That doesn't mean you're definitely making that throw in a game,
right,
or in every scenario. But it is something to say that, like, all right, we're trying to see if we're growing as a team. And so, that's not something you would never do in a game, but it's something that you may not always do in a game. And so, Joe, I do think that you never should do something that you would never do in a game.
Right. No, I agree with that.
And so, and maybe that's a little semantics in terms of how he described it. But yeah, the things you never do in a game is fumble the football.
Right.
Like those are things you want to never do.
Would you come out Friday night if you're Cam Ward and kind of run a hurry up? Because look, I know he can hand the ball off, but I'd like to see how he can run an offense up tempo. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, here's what I think happens in these preseason games. We've eliminated one. And so, you just don't get as many opportunities. And so you don't know the situations that are going to arise. And I think most coaches in the NFL would tell you that, like, look, it's about third down and red zone. It's about situational football. Can you end the game, with the ball in your hands, things like that. And, in a preseason game where guys are going to play a couple series or maybe not play into the second half, well, A, you don't know what situations you're going to get, and then B, you don't know who the guys are that are going to get the situation. So, I do believe that, in practice, it's why, so many teams have gone to these joint practices, is because you can plan, all right, hey, here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do, some type of up-tempo offense, or we're going to work on a end of the half 2-minute drive, or an end of the game 2-minute drive, or we're going to work on, even more, detailed situations like a Mayday field goal at the end of the game or half. So, yeah, I think all of those, I'm up for all of those situations because those win and lose you football games.
Tim Hasselbeck is with us here on the Chasing Big Joe show. So the Titans released Tim Boyle. They signed Trevor Siemian. They now have two backups on the team, or presumed backups, that are fighting for that spot, that have connections with Brian Callahan. How important is that? And does the backup quarterback sometimes play the role of an additional coach when it comes to helping the starter? Because they're standing there, they're getting the calls just like the starter is. They're watching on the sidelines. They might see things that the guy in the game doesn't see. So how important is it to have, one or two of those guys that truly understand all the terminology that Brian's throwing at him?
Yeah. I think that they're very important, but I think sometimes, Chase, it can be as a coach. And like, you take Trevor Siemian as an example. He's a really smart guy, and he's been a starter. And so I think that there's valuable wisdom that he has that can be helpful to a young quarterback. So I think that there's certainly some of that. Now the guy has to, be able to, give, I guess, kind of impart his wisdom in a good way to, a young guy that's, had a lot of success at a different level. And you got to make sure that he's receptive to that guy's, teaching or pointers or whatever, mentorship, whatever it may be. I do think that is important for a young quarterback because, sometimes it's the conversation over lunch where, something sinks in. It's not necessarily the comment in a meeting room, as the quarterback coach is trying to coach everybody. So sometimes I think it's that. And then I think one of the biggest areas is as translator. And I saw this early on in my career when Donovan McNabb was a starter and Coy Detmer was one of the backups. And Pat Shurmur, I think, oftentimes used Coy Detmer as the messenger, as the translator of something that he wanted to get across. And it was because Donovan really trusted Coy. And so it was just an easy way to be like, look, I'm saying this, but I don't know that he's getting, like, this is what we need him to do. Can you help get that done? And so I think that it's important to have a guy that just even embraces the role of saying, look, that's part of my job on this team is, yes, go in and play well if someone gets hurt, but 2, be the messenger to this young quarterback.
We'll have more with Tim Hasselbeck, Innsworth football coach and ESPN NFL analyst, coming up next here on Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Tuesday, continuing our conversation with Tim Hasselbeck, Innsworth's fine football coach and ESPN NFL analyst. How are the Tigers looking?
Yeah, we're going to find out on August 22nd. Still have the tickets for Elvis, Big Joe, and you, Chase, left at will call. We'll find out. You know, it's that time of year where I think we must have all these coaches, right, where you school starts, kids are distracted, and you're like, man, we got a lot we got to get figured out before the season starts.
Well, it's good. I got to go Thursday night and speak to the Gallatin High School football team. Did they put one on you last Friday?
What we scrimmaged them. You know what, it was and I mean this. So like obviously we have some fun and joke on here. Look, I think that the experience of kids competing in high school football, I think should always be a positive one. And
yes.
So we've scrimmaged Gallatin the last couple of years. So last year and this year, and to me, it's a good environment where kids are competing, but it's respectful. It's not the 7-on-7 culture of guys taunting and doing that type of stuff. And so it was good work for our football team, and I hope it was for them as well.
Tim, we started this talking about Cam Ward and, don't overreact. But everybody overreacted about Shedeur Sanders and what he did.
Did he play this week?
Yeah, he did. He sure did. A few other guys did too. But, I've heard Cleveland's putting a statue up and retiring the jersey and all that stuff. But, I mean, in some ways, did he need that? Not that he has any issue with confidence, but was that good for him because of everything that's happened since the draft?
Here's why. I think it was good for him because he was a late round pick and he was buried on the depth chart. And now he got to start a preseason game and he played well. And so now, just take Shedeur Sanders out of it and, make it somebody else. What would happen is you go, oh, maybe there's some potential here for this guy. Think about what happened with Russell Wilson. They had Matt Flynn. They drafted a guy not as late. I think Russ was third, fourth round. And all of a sudden, he plays in a preseason game and they're like, wait a minute, this guy can play. This is pretty good. We thought he could play, but you don't know until a guy gets out there. And so when he does, you say, maybe one day this guy could be the starting quarterback here. That's why I think it's a huge deal for Cleveland.
Do you think he helped his cause?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's got guys in front of him that are injured, so that right off the bat in every scenario gives you an opportunity, and then he played well. And so really what happens, beyond that, it can start to be debated in terms of, all right, well, will there now be pressure to play him? From ownership? Will there now be pressure to play him because of, the fans and how everything else is going? So, I think that those, I don't know. I still think it's relatively early, but if he stacks another preseason game like that and continues to get a lot of work, then I could see them going with him if there would have been no injuries that happened, I think I could have seen them cutting him. That's a huge swing.
No, you're exactly right. Tim Hasselbeck's on the Chasing Big Joe show. Tim, I'm fascinated by this question. Who should Cam Ward's best friend be on the Titans team right now? Some have said Tony Pollard. Some have said Calvin Ridley. Some have said, J.C. Latham. Who do you think his best friend should be kind of on and off the field as they go forward together?
Well, I can't say I know everybody's off the field habit, so I would be careful. I always think for a quarterback, it's the guys up front. It's fitting in with the group up front. Receivers are great, and you need to have a good relationship with them. But if you're on the same, everything starts up front,
right?
With protection and communication and getting the runs, and especially in this age now of RPOs, you can see it now, especially on Saturdays, go watch when, a quarterback spits the ball out to the perimeter on a run pass option, but the offensive line thought that they had a nice look in the run game,
Yeah.
there's a lot of hey man, what are you doing? Right. So But I think if everyone is on kind of, I guess, understanding and kind of in lockstep up front, then I think all the other stuff will work itself out, like with receivers, running backs, tight ends, all of that stuff.
How important is it before that first game in Denver that those 5 guys up front spend a lot of time together on the field? Because right now they have spent 0 time together.
Yeah, I do think it's important. I was actually just talking, so our defensive line coach here at Ensworth is Leroy Harris. You guys probably remember,
Yep.
Drafted by the Titans, played offensive guard for the Titans. And, one of the things we kind of were just talking to our offensive line about, because he's the defensive line coach, was just like communicating, and one of the things Matthew, my brother Matthew, who was the quarterback at the Titans at the time Leroy was playing for the Titans, he's like, what's funny is Leroy never talked. Like if you were in the locker room, like he didn't talk to anybody. Like he was so quiet. But like then you get in the game or you be at practice and like he and Michael Roos, like they couldn't stop talking. Like that's all they did was talk and communicate, and we're on the same page, right? And so yeah, it's important at every level that the guys up front are communicating. They know what each other is planning. And when I say, hey, let's be sick through this, like, what does that mean? Or, hey, like all of that stuff, like it's their own little language that they take over. So it is important to have time on task with one another.
Do your kids really grasp and appreciate the experience that they're getting with you and your brother and Leroy and, guys that played in the NFL at such a high level? I mean, that's really, really cool.
And Grant Williams and Ben Jones, I'm like,
Ben Jones,
there's part of me, like, I want to be like, every now and then I'm tempted to like pull some of our linemen over and be like, hey, listen, next time you like drive by Nissan Stadium and you see like a Empire State Building size mural of Ben Jones, like you just realize, that we didn't just grab some guy off the street to help coach here, right? So, but hey, I could feel that way about like someone like Ben. But I think the beauty of Ben or Leroy or Grant or any of the guys that we have here is that like they don't look at it that way, like they come in it with like you guys have like you've been around Ben to see him, like just there's no ego in it for them. They just love the idea that they're maybe helping somebody grow, develop, get a little bit better at something that they're working hard at.
Tim, your father played a long time in the National Football League. Was there a teammate of your dad's that you were just mesmerized by?
Yeah, so for us, it was Mark Bavaro. Mark Bavaro,
Ooh.
My dad's last year was with the Giants, and Mark Bavaro got drafted, and Parcells called my dad and was like, look, I need you to play one more year. And my dad was like, look, man, I'm beat up. I'm not going to do it. And he's like, just trust me. You're going to love this guy. I need you to basically be his big brother. And so they ended up drafting Mark Bavaro, and he would he stayed with us at our house in New Jersey.
Wow.
That year. He was just a single guy, had been drafted, and I just remember this was back when like the real fancy thing was like Indiglo on your watch. You press that button that lights up. He had an Indiglo watch, so like I actually thought he was cool because he had that. It was like, hey, Mr. Bavaro has got the Indiglo watch, like that, not because he was like carrying Ronnie Lott down the field. It was because of that.
Not Howie Long? I thought Howie Long, you might have gone there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there were a lot of guys, especially being on that Raiders team that won Super Bowl 18, Marcus Allen, Lyle Alzado, guys like that. But now for us, maybe because we were a little bit older, Mark Bavaro was the guy.
I love it.
It was always weird for us, like, it's even weird for me to say Mark Bavaro. Like, I always have to say, like, Mr. Grogan, Mr. Bavaro. It was just, he never called them by their first names.
Great stuff as always, Tim. We will talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to make the kids call Ben Mr. Jones,
Yeah.
Mr. Harris, Leroy. That's how they have to address him at practice. All right, fellas. See ya.
So yeah, Tim Hasselbeck joining us here on the program. He's the head coach at Ensworth and also ESPN NFL analyst, and always enjoy talking to him. Real quick, I just saw this on Twitter, and you're going to absolutely love this.
Uh-oh.
Week 3 of the NFL season on CBS will be they'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the NFL today. They will do a throwback theme, including Brent Musburger on set
Love it.
as the host, and they're going to have the old set and the theme and all that stuff. So You Are Looking Live.
Yes.
Week 3 of the NFL.
I think he's the only one left. I think Irv Cross is gone, Phyllis George is gone, and Jimmy the Greek is gone.
Yeah. So
We
he'll
gotta
be with the
save
current
Brent.
analysts.
I love it.
Yeah. So that'll be really cool to have that. Just thought you would appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
We'll have much more coming in hour number 2, including we'll reset how the Titans did today at joint practices with the Atlanta Falcons. It's Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 3, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Tuesday. Appreciate Tim Hasselbeck for joining us. You can weigh in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Our question of the day from earlier in the show: do you know how to drive a stick shift?
Very simple. Yeah.
Jinx.
Oh, man. Damn it. Gosh.
Got him.
I can't talk for another hour. Good luck.
Yeah, no, not going to do it all by myself. The Titans had their joint practice with Atlanta today. We had Gentry Estes from the Tennessean on earlier, and he said one good. Basically spent the whole interview trying to find something nice to say about him. Cam Moore didn't look great. Everybody didn't look great.
Just said it was a bad day, and got to go out tomorrow and do it. And you hit something earlier. I mean, that a theme that's been like for the last year, maybe 2 years, came out sluggish, came out looking a little tired. I mean, that is, you got to come out and I know it's practice, man, but be excited about that. Be fired up to get out there and go get somebody different for a little bit. And so it's just, we get those reports back from all around. It's like, man, this wasn't good. And Tim hit on some things about, what do you need to see Friday from Cam Ward? I really want to see Cam Ward play the entire first half. I want to see that. I want to see him come out in the set, because you got one more game, one more opportunity, one more chance to do that against the Vikings next week here in town. But Friday night, let's go out there and let him have some fun, run that off and speed it up a little bit and see what you could do, because you got to do it eventually. Might as well do it now.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I think, and I liked what Tim said about playing through the first half, coming out of the locker room, playing a series in the second half. I mean, you think about back in the day, that's how it used to be. That, when you had 4 preseason games, they'd play maybe a series or 2 in the first, then you'd get a quarter in the second one, you'd get the first half and go into the second half and the third one, and then the starters probably wouldn't even dress for the fourth one.
That's right. Exactly how it was.
And that's how it was. Now, since then, there has been, and joint practices have always been a thing, but it seems like there's been more of an emphasis on the joint practices where coaches feel they can control it more. The quarterbacks aren't getting hit, and they can get the work that they need out of those practices and not have to worry about them playing in the preseason game. Whether it's a preseason game or a regular season game or whatever,
right,
you cannot replicate the game speed and what happens in a game, even in a controlled practice.
And not only that, and this might seem like what, but like the PA system and the crowd and the Jumbotron and goofy things, find the peanut, is behind jar number 4, which I could never get correct. But those are all things that happen during a game that all take away from things you're trying to experience, because you got to watch it. At a joint practice, that doesn't happen. And something else that just bugs me, and Brian Callahan owes us nothing, but not speaking after practice,
I know,
drives me insane.
I know. Like, why did the head coach not speak today?
Yep.
And I'm saying this publicly, and maybe they'll hear it. I would like to know whose decision that is. Is that his? Is that Brinker's? Is that Borgonzi's? Is that Amy's? Is that Everett Gearling's, the new head of comms? Like, who's making that decision?
That's a great point.
Because I can tell you, as a fan and a media member, that's a bad decision.
It is. And there's a lot of coaches.
I already don't like speaking before practice, because, like, what does that really tell me? And I know he's not the only coach that does that.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches are starting to do that. And I guess there's not a requirement that you have to speak, but you had a joint practice today. Why not go up I mean, I want, like, is he worried about saying something that he's pissed off? I want him to be pissed off.
Did Raheem Morris talk today? I'm curious.
I don't know.
That'd be interesting if he did. And look, again, some coaches have talked about, I think Parcells has talked about this. Ditka has as well throughout the years. Sometimes you send a message to your team through the media. So if you get up there and say, look, today we were terrible, it's unacceptable, I'm going to bust somebody's ass because it was so bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to hit that fire, and then word gets out around the locker room like, oh man, coach is mad, and you don't have to address it that way. Sometimes it happens, but this whole speaking the next day and hoping you won't get asked those questions, no. And I hope somebody asks tomorrow if Callahan does speak. He hasn't spoken to the media since Sunday morning. since
Right.
it's Zoom.
Right.
So I don't know what that would be like, but it'd be great. Just get it over with, man.
I don't know if Raheem Morris spoke today or not.
The only way to get a problem taken care of is to get it head on and talk about it. Just get it over with.
Yep.
Just get it over with and say, we're terrible today, do better tomorrow. Here's why we're terrible. Here's what we're going to work on, go on and go on. But again, he owes us nothing.
No, I'm just curious I guess I am being critical because I disagree with it, but I just want to know the thought process behind it of, sitting down and like, I get that some coaches don't like doing this stuff more. I mean, Vrabel hated doing interviews. I mean, he rarely did like radio interviews, and he did them.
Yeah.
And Brian Callahan hadn't really done a whole lot of them either. I don't know if I've ever interviewed him. Maybe I have, but
Callahan?
yeah,
All right.
I don't think we have.
No. Did you talk to him at a hockey game?
I talked to him at a hockey game.
He's like, damn, man.
No, he didn't do that.
It's like, oh, Trace, man, what's happening, man?
615-737-1025. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Our man Adam in Portland has weighed in. Adam, what's up?
Hey, weird question for you, because Joe just said, I want to see him speed the offense up. And I'm like, okay, I was like that too. And then I'm thinking, Will Levis could not have sped that offense up. So where's the disconnect there, dude? Like, tell me, Chase. Like Ridley already looks like a good receiver again. We thought at the beginning of last year he could have possibly sucked. Like there was completely no chemistry with those two. So I'm wondering like where the difference is with Levis and Cam. Like I'm looking at it heading into the year. There's clearly something's different. Yeah. Everybody feels different. I'm even cool with us not being a great team, but I feel like there's a difference, dude.
Okay, follow me on this. So I think that well, I wanted him to stay on, but that's okay.
Call back, guys.
But my thing on this is I think DeAndre Hopkins had something to do with the Ridley thing. Because I think DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley were probably, both fighting to be that number one guy, even though Hopkins is no longer a number one guy. I think that Hop and Levis were on the same page because they had played together the year before. And so it took Ridley a second to kind of get in on that same page. When Hopkins was gone, then Ridley was the guy, and you saw him really take off, and his stats got a lot better. I think from the jump, Cam Moore knew that, he was coming in here to be the starter, and Ridley was the number one guy, and so they worked together. So I think that's a part of it. And I think Cam is just used to the up-tempo game. I think Ridley was used to that at, both in college and then in the NFL. And now that's what they both need, but not everybody can run that. And that's the problem. Cam, I think, can.
And I think also Ridley came in here last year with a $92 million contract.
Yeah.
And to me, that doesn't piss off a couple of receivers like, oh, why does he get that? So there's a lot of unknown. You got Callahan's first year here, Levis unsure what he could do. So I think now he's found this little comfort level with Cam Moore, which I think is great. Because I still think that Calvin Ridley is a top 10 receiver in the National Football League. He's not the elite. There's only very few that are elite. But if they can have something together, I mean, there's some positive things here. If they can find some balance together, you get a number 2 receiver there who can get open and give Cam time to throw the football. Good things can happen. We won't know, though, until the first game versus Denver. But I'd like to see all this at least Friday night, run that up-tempo offense and let it go and see what he could do.
I 100% agree with you. Let's put him in situations that see how he's going to handle those once you get to the regular season. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to take your calls and texts on the Titans in their joint practice. It was a bad day, but let's be honest. How bad can it truly be this year? We'll discuss coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 1025 The Game.
Nah, being on the road, that ain't got nothing to do with that. You know, it's a mindset thing. It's all about how you approach the day. And it all starts off how you wake up in the morning. Feel me? And you know, we just got to be more productive and bring more energy. And like I said, it starts with the leaders in the room. And we got to come out here and bring that energy and have that momentum. And I look forward to doing that tomorrow.
What can you personally do to kind of give that spark that you're talking about?
Set the tone, come out first day, hit somebody, get a PBU. It's all how you approach the guys. And really, that's it. You know, play my game, really, for real. And just talk that talk. When I do that, man, you know, it bring the guys up, it bring energy in the room.
That was Jarvis Brownlee after practice today via Teron Davenport's Twitter account. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Tuesday. I mean, Joe, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, you kind of heard it right there. He's like basically saying they need to come out better and hit somebody.
They do.
I mean, look, that you want to set the tone, come out on the one-on-ones and pop some pads.
I mean, look, you got the opportunity to do it tomorrow. Get out and get it done. You got it Friday night to get it done. Chris Sanders talks about the love of football. The love of football goes to practice. It goes to everything that goes involved with this. Hell, Tim Hasselbeck said, you know what? A lot of distractions now. You get into school started with high school, but you get to the field, you know, it's time, the alone time to work on it. And you're out there with your brothers and good thing happens. Then, you know, you work together to win games and all that. And, you know, we don't want to read that you're sluggish and that you're tired and all that. I just, you know, or you've been on the road. This team's on the road. That narrative drives me insane.
I know. And Gentry brought that up today. And I mean, if that's how they're really looking, though, then that's not good. But again, I understand why Coach did it. I understand why Brian Callahan wanted them to basically treat this kind of like a hockey road trip, be gone for over a week, because you get rid of some of the distractions of home. It's a team bonding thing. You're together, you're, you know, practicing and then spending a lot of time together. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but if they're all looking like they're just tired of each other, then that's a bad thing.
It is, you know. And look, we're talking about how bad can it be this year for the Titans. And like, we're not going to sit there like, I hope they go 1-16. No, I hope they have a good season, get to the playoffs, because the city gets behind teams that win like any city does. But remember, they opened the season versus Denver. Remember the last time the Titans were in Denver? What happened?
They won.
No,
they lost.
Mariota had the worst game of any quarterback
yeah, I'm thinking about
I've ever seen. He got benched during that game. It was awful. And Tannehill came in.
That's not the last time they were in Denver.
Was it not the 19?
They opened 20, I think it was 21 on Monday Night Football.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. All right, the 19 season, they were out there on the schedule of 19, 22, and 25. That gets the rotation. They were terrible. They're absolutely terrible out there. You know, it's like, well, the altitude. And so I remember the week before they were talking about, well, the altitude's going to be in Denver. You're already professing defeat. Just stop that. That's why that Broncos game, it's the next one. It's so monumental, important for this football team. But we do the what if. I mean, you go out there. I mean, there's two ways you could go to determine your season. You go out there and you beat Denver. You're like, all right, there's something here.
Yeah.
If you go out there and you get beat 45-0, you're done. I mean, you're done.
What if you go out there and you lose 21-17?
And you're competitive? I don't mind. I hate it.
Sure.
I hate losing.
Sure.
I'd be okay. All right.
But with the fans, would the fans view that as progress?
Yes, because we spent the entire show telling you how bad they are. I think
sure.
that'd be good.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying is, and again, I'm not saying be okay with losing, but that's probably where this team is going, or this is almost the best case scenario of, hey, they don't get the wins yet, but they're right there. You can clearly see what they're missing. You can clearly see what their weaknesses are, but Cam is growing. And if you go out there game number 1 and lose 21-17 because Bo Nix beats you on a last-minute drive,
I'm okay with that.
Be disappointed you lost, but I think at the same time, you have progress.
Yes. And I think, look, losing is never acceptable. Never acceptable.
Correct.
But fight. Show us fight, that you've got fight. You go out there and you're going to try to do everything you can to win the game. I'd be okay with that. You know, I still want to win and would be happy. But I'm telling you, I mean, that game could determine so much what goes on. But if you get blown out, like, oh God, then that's the theme the next week is, but if you win that game and nobody expects you to win a game, God, what a feeling that is.
8492 says, how many bad days are they going to have already? I think coach has lost the room.
That's a good point, man. I don't know. That was the first thing you popped up on the Twitter. It was like, I came out sluggish. It's like, oh God, not again with this. Who knows where it ends, man? Another day to prove what you can do tomorrow. Now, if tomorrow's bad.
Oh, can you? If tomorrow's bad, I mean, panic might set in. And they hadn't even played a game yet.
Not a single game yet. So you got a couple of weeks for that to go on, man. I don't know. It's a lot of things, man. And this is what happened. I mean, somebody asked for the days like, where did it all go wrong? I'm like, how much time you got? Let's sit down and talk about this.
The year was 1996, and the team decided to leave Houston.
Yeah, right. And then they came here and do all that. And so it's just funny because, 21, they were the number 1 seed.
Is there one moment for you where you can honestly say this is where it went wrong?
Well, on the field, I mean, of course, the A.J. Brown thing, all that goes on. I think that's been hammered nonstop. I think the John Robinson firing. I think that's it. Because from what I was told, guys in the locker room were stunned.
Mm-hmm.
It was fired on a Tuesday. They went to practice on a Wednesday and were like in a funk so much that I was understood that Vrabel had to all right, guys, I got to call y'all in. We got to focus now. We got a game. And it was never the same after that.
Well, and Vrabel had to handle
yes,
nobody had a press conference except for Vrabel.
Yep, that's
right.
So
the head coach had to get up there and answer questions about the general manager getting fired that really he had nothing to do with.
Zero to do.
He's coaching.
Because they were number 1, right, in the AFC South at that time.
They had a winning record. Yep. They were number 1 in the division, and she made that move. And I agree. I think it set them back.
Yep.
615-737-1025. Gilbert wants to weigh in. First-time caller wants to weigh in on the Titans.
Hey, how's it going, y'all?
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned about my Titans this year. I'm a Houston Oilers / Titan, and I've been a Titan fan forever, man. I'm out here in California, and I still represent them, but I'm a little nervous this year just from Cali. To me, I don't really see anybody actually getting better under Callahan right now. I mean, Will Levis, I feel he played better under Vrabel. I felt Malik Willis played better when he went with LaFleur. And I think the quarterback from the Steelers that we had, Rudolph, played better under Tomlinson. So I just want to see if he can really coach a whole team and everybody get better, because last year it was turnovers, penalties, and 3 and outs. And I still see this in practice, and I'm just concerned, is this going to be the same way going into next year? And I just want to find a quarterback to grow with Ward. I mean, a coach that him and Ward can grow together, and I'm just not sure if he's the right coach.
I think that's a fair point. Thanks for the call, Gilbert. Don't be a stranger. That's what everybody's concerned with.
What was he in California written on the Titans?
Yeah. Thanks for listening out in California. Appreciate
Damn, I
it.
feel sorry. He's probably the only one out there.
But that I think is all of our concerns. Can Brian Callahan be the right coach to develop Cam Ward, and they grow together and they do this together like you had with Fisher and McNair and Vrabel and Tannehill? A little bit of a different situation, but that's what I keep saying. If Cam Ward shows that he's getting better and the team shows that they're getting better, I think even if it's 5-6 wins, he's back. If it's 4, 5, 6 wins and they're not showing any signs of getting better and the losses are just bad losses, he won't be here.
I mean, he might be gone by mid-season.
Yeah, very well could be.
That was never a problem with Fisher and McNair. You didn't know. And the same thing with Vrabel.
I think Bud had a couple of idle threats, at times, but
what, at 95 you weren't going to fire him, or 96, and so now it's like, my God, I mean, we talked to Gentry about that. It's the back of everybody's mind. If it's a bad start and Vrabel comes in and kicks their ass, you think she's going to sit idly by? No. Pull it, get him out of here, gone. Then she's paying somebody else millions to sit around, and then
millions and millions.
And frankly, I mean, if that happens, if I'm Callahan, I'd be like, good, I'm out of this nonsense. I'm done. Because
and
right
then,
now,
and then what do they do?
you plug in Nick Holtz or somebody else to do it. I don't know.
Well, no, I'm talking about next year. Like if they,
Oh.
I mean, I would hope that somebody would be smart and it's like, let's really, because as somebody pointed out yesterday, this team likes first year head coaches. You know, would McCarthy or Gruden be a good option? I'm asking, I don't know. Gruden's been out of the game for a while.
All right, so let me ask you this. Who makes the decision, Borgonzi or Brinker? Here we go again. Here we go again.
That's
Who makes the call?
Well, that, you know, their answer will be like, well, we work on it together.
We're
It's
at
collaboration.
together. Yeah. So then you look.
It's a collaboration between me and Mike and Amy.
Yeah. So
and
you
Burke,
look at who Brinker worked with in
Harry and accounting.
Green Bay. He had Mike McCarthy, and who Borgonzi. I'm sure Andy Reid's got a lengthy coaching tree of guys that are out there, but you get another offensive guy coming here, and now Cam Ward's got to learn again. I mean, there's so many questions on this football team and this franchise that would just drive you crazy.
You know what the problem is? There is a big problem in the NFL, and I see it more in the NFL than I do in college football. And I will tell you what I mean. Coming up next, Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, here on this Tuesday, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Tuesday.
Hey, tomorrow night at the Omni Nashville Hotel down at Bar Lions. If this bar could talk, songs and stories from Bar Lions featuring some of the best singer-songwriters in Nashville. It starts at 5 o'clock. It is free and open to the public. Anthony Billups, James Gregory, Curtis John, Wade Fitzgerald will be down there at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Bar Lions. Brought to you by Three Ring Circus Music. If this bar could talk, go down there. It's free. Some great music, some great singer-songwriters at Bar Lions tomorrow starting at 5.
We will be there, of course, on Thursday.
Yes,
at Bar
sir.
Lions, so looking forward to that. All right, so here's what I think the problem is in the NFL. I don't think there are as many good head coaches as there used to be.
Ooh.
I think there are a lot of really good coordinators that become head coaches, and that's the natural progression, but then they're not good head coaches.
Right.
Like, let's use a few. And look, there's examples of, like, Mike Vrabel wasn't a great defensive coordinator. He's a good head coach. You know, and granted, it was 1 year being a coordinator, but I mean, like, think about it. I mean, now we're starting to see, you know, some guys that as they get more experience, they look to be pretty good head coaches, but they were these, you know, especially offensive coordinators, were these, like Brian Callahan was one of those that everybody was looking at him like, oh, he's out of that system. He's been in good, you know, good with good coaches. He's going to be a great head coach.
All right. I got a list. All right, I'm going to go rapid fire. You give me a grade, A to F, okay? Who's Sean at the Buffalo Bills?
Sean McDermott.
A. Mike McDaniel.
Probably a C right now.
All right, I'll give him a D. They're so underachieving. Mike Vrabel.
B.
Aaron Glenn. Don't know much about him yet.
He's new.
John Harbaugh.
A+.
Zach Taylor.
That's a hard one. B. B-.
She said. Stefanski.
With
Cleveland. Sorry.
Yeah. C.
Mike Tomlin.
A.
Yep. D'Amico Ryans.
I'd say a B right now.
Steichen with the Colts.
D.
Okay. We can't do the Jags because he's first year. Sean Payton in Denver.
A+.
Andy Reid.
A+.
Pete Carroll.
A+.
And Jim Harbaugh.
A.
Yep. Who's the coach? Shanahan, not Shanahan.
Kyle in San Francisco?
No, Dallas coach. Schottenheimer. Sorry.
Brian Schottenheimer.
His first year.
First year.
Dabble.
Brian Daboll?
Yeah.
D.
Yeah.
Good coordinator.
Yeah. Sirianni, Philadelphia.
I would say now an A.
Yeah.
He won a Super Bowl. He's gone to 2 Super Bowls.
Yes, sir. Dan Quinn.
I want to say A, but I'm going to say B+.
All right. We can't do the Bears first year. Dan Campbell.
B+.
B+. That's a good one. Green Bay, LaFleur.
I would have said for a long time B- or B, but I'll probably say A-.
Yeah, he's done good with Jordan Love. Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings.
I think he's pretty good too. B.
We got to skip Atlanta. We'll skip Carolina. We'll skip New Orleans.
Is this Raheem Morris' first year in Atlanta?
No.
Yeah,
last year was his first year, right? Because Arthur left.
Yeah.
All right. Raheem Morris.
C+.
Okay. Is it Canales or Carolina? Is that here his first year?
This is his second year.
Yeah.
You look towards the end of last year, maybe C+, but on approaching a B-.
Can't do Kellen Moore first year.
Yep.
Tampa Bay's coach.
Todd Bowles. He's been there a while.
You. Yes.
B+.
B+. Cardinals. I don't remember that guy's name.
D. But I know who you're talking about.
Sean McVay.
A+.
Okay. Kyle Shanahan.
A+.
And then the guy from Seattle that came over, Montgomery from the Ravens, DC.
Mr. Burns.
Right? Mr. Burns.
C+.
Okay. Yeah. So you're right. There's not that powerful head coach that scares you to death that's out there. A lot of them want to be buddies, and I think that's a problem in today's game. That's why you look at you take Mahomes away from Andy Reid. Yeah, I mean, he's lucky. I mean, he had McNabb in Philadelphia. I mean, he's a great coach, and it results of being, winning championships. But you can't do that. But I think right now, and you had an A+, the first A+ out of your mouth, John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I mean, he's won one Super Bowl. I get it, but he's been there since 2008.
I know, but he's been consistent.
Consistent's a great word.
He's been consistent, and I mean, now he has an MVP. He's had a 3-time MVP quarterback, but I mean, Joe Flacco was good, wasn't great.
Yep.
I mean, that's what's impressive is he won a Super Bowl with a stifling defense.
He did.
So, but again, like I think everybody thinks Ben Johnson's going to be a good head coach because based on what he did with the Lions and Jared Goff specifically, but time will tell. Aaron Glenn, he interviewed here, was up for the Titans job. Like everybody thinks they're going to be good. It's kind of like when we had John Robinson on and I was leading into the Traylon Burks question and made that, well, obviously you think he's going to be good. And he kind of joked like, well, yeah, you always think that's
right.
So that's kind of what these GMs think when they hire these coaches, that they're going to be the next Bill Walsh or Belichick or whatever. But I just feel like they're not.
You remember when Robinson got the job and they talked about how great him and Malarkey were together, and they rode from Nashville to Mobile together. They kind of did a little road trip together, and we were sold that false bill of goods. And then, a year later, it's kind of like, oh my gosh. Again, that goes back to
my guy syndrome.
They want their guy. Borgonzi eventually is going to want his guy. I mean, it happens. And the first opportunity he can get
is that
his
bad?
Guy.
Is that bad?
It depends on who your guy is, man.
Right. I mean, right. Is your guy the right guy? Because if your guy isn't the right guy, then you're not the guy either. You're out. But
you're out on your butt.
But I mean, I do understand to an extent of like, you want to bring in your people to do what you want to do.
Yeah. Well, why not? I mean, that's what you feel good about that.
Look, we can play revisionist history. I like Mike Mularkey. I think Mike Mularkey set the culture for this organization. He righted the ship at the right time. They won the playoff game because Kelsey got hurt and a couple of plays went their way.
But they won.
I think there was a ceiling with him, and I don't believe they would have surpassed it had they not made the change. I think hiring Mike Vrabel was the right move.
Still one of the most bizarre press conferences of all time.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, of course it was, but it is what it is. But it's just an interesting observation. Another thing that I have been laughing at, watching on Twitter today is, I guess it was reported that Odell Beckham Jr. was retiring, and that's a false report. And he's been tweeting like, "Stop texting me, happy retirement. I'm going to block you."
Oh gosh.
Like I'm not done yet. So I don't know what happened there, but that kind of made me laugh.
Just go away. Just go away. You don't go to camp. You're a distraction for a lot of things. Just go away, man. You're done. Go away.
Right.
Just you got your Super Bowl ring. You got your millions. Just go away.
No,
guys never happy anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, because my people might be like, well, you'd bring him in. Like, why not give him a shot? Well, if somebody wanted to give him a shot, he'd already be in a camp.
Right. And they don't want to go to camp anyway when they don't have to.
Yeah.
It's more work. Give me the money.
Coming up next, we'll tell you what day it is and celebrity birthdays here on this Tuesday. Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Tuesday, wrapping things up. DVD coming along here in just a few minutes. Look forward to hearing their take on Titans joint practices today. Also, Trevor Manich scheduled to join them at 4:30 as well. But right now, it's time to get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays. It's brought to you by Jarrett Companies, Inc. Use their electrical division for installations, inspections, upgrades, and more. JarrettCompaniesInc.com, above and beyond industry standards.
All right, gentlemen. First on the list, we have Baseball Fans Day. Gotta love baseball.
Heck yeah.
IBM PC Day. I believe
nice.
IBM. Yeah, okay. Yeah. International Youth Day. Shout out to the youth. National Julienne Fries Day. I guess it's
Julienne.
Julienne, maybe. I don't know. It's a weird fry. I don't know. Maybe it's
it might be
fry.
Like Julienne's how you cut something, like the specific type of cut.
Well, okay, maybe that is.
Look at this.
Just call it a shoestring fry.
I have no idea.
You call yourself a restaurant guy.
I mean, I'm not a French fry guy. I'll say that.
Julienne, like it.
Okay, next is National Middle Child Day. Woo! There you go.
David James.
National Sewing Machine
That explains
Day.
a lot.
It does. National Sewing Machine Day is today. Truck Driver Day. Shout out to those truck drivers. They love listening to the game. Vinyl Record Day. If you have a vinyl record collection, reach out to me. Would love to see that. World Elephant Day is today. So
we got an elephant sanctuary down in Hohenwald.
Yeah. And was it you that told me that elephants look at us like dogs?
They do. No. We look at dogs the same way elephants look at us. Like they love us. We love dogs. Elephants love people.
Yeah.
Good to know.
It is. Do you ever eat circus peanuts?
Afraid to answer the question. No, Joe, I don't.
Elephants like circus peanuts, the little orange candies.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Me neither. I just made that up. So keep going.
I'm done. It's all yours.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Time for celebrity birthdays.
Did we learn about Tokyo
Yes,
yesterday?
I found out it's not a radio station.
Yeah, I know. Good job.
Did you tune in though?
Oh, yes.
All right, celebrity birthdays. Our first birthday. Oh, the most handsome actor, George Hamilton. How old is George Hamilton?
57.
74.
86.
Nice.
Bruce Greenwood, the actor. He was an iRobot and about 1,000 other things. Oh, he was JFK in 13 Days.
I like him. 65.
72.
69.
Nice.
00. Go down here, see some more. Oh, the great actress, Yvette Nicole Brown. She's in the TV show S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yep. Avengers Endgame she's in. Portrayed a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in Avengers Endgame.
I wonder which one she was. 41.
53.
54. Rebecca Gayheart. She was on 90210. She was Dylan McKay's wife who was killed in a car wreck.
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca Gayheart.
That's when he left.
That's right.
I know my 90210.
Oh, it's so sad.
58.
62.
54. Casey Affleck. Not the duck from Affleck, but Casey Affleck.
Ben's brother. 44.
53.
50. Dr. Green's up 1-0. I don't know who that is. All right. Let's see. Lead guitar player, singer of Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler.
71.
73.
76. Singer Kid Creole of Kid Creole and the Coconuts. Creole? Kid something. Kid Creole.
42.
53.
75.
I have no idea who that is.
Jazz guitar player Pat Metheny.
63.
72.
71. Dr. Green's up 2-0. Lead singer of Confederate Railroad, Danny Shirley. He likes his women a little on the what side? On the trashy side.
61.
75.
69. Rapper Sir Mix-a-Lot.
60.
58.
That's 62. Chase on the board, 2-1. Actor Michael Ian Black from the TV show Ed. He's always on the VH1 Best Week Ever stuff. Comedian too.
Who?
Michael Ian Black.
52.
58.
54. Chasers tied it up at 2s. All right, we got 3 sports birthdays. Boxer Tyson Fury.
38.
34.
37. Chasers taking the lead 3-2. Former Kentucky basketball player Antoine Walker that played for the Boston Celtics.
49.
44.
49. Chaser killing it up 5-2, 5 unanswered. Our last birthday, Pete Sampras.
64.
71.
54. Chaser wins 5-2. Good job, buddy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Especially the one texter that loves celebrity birthdays.
Oh, gosh, yes.
You can stop now. With that, let's get to our mashup today. It's showtime, folks. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game on this Tuesday.
There was a guy leaving the hotel wearing chaps that were, I can't use the word on the radio, but
assless chaps, you can say it.
Okay. And a fishnet shirt and a cowboy hat. And I was like, Chase, there's your Halloween outfit. And Peyton's like, man, I ain't coming out. And he goes in, and Osweiler puts his helmet on. Have you seen that? Yeah. He walks, and he sees Peyton. He's like, what the hell? And he goes back to the sidelines. He's done that way.
What did Peyton say?
He said, man, I ain't going to the game. It was a terrible game.
A draft duel or a Fan Kings or whatever it's called on your cell phone. That's Bill Belichick. Yeah, no, we don't bet on football. I wouldn't bet on you guys right now anyway.
I told you, I thought in junior college, the first 2 weeks, my whole name was GD. That's what I thought.
Do you know how to drive a stick shift?
Pretty simple. Yeah.
Jinx.
Oh, man. Damn it. Gosh.
Got him.
I can't talk for another hour. Good luck.
Yeah, no, not going to do it all by myself.
Zach Taylor.
That's a hard one. B minus.
She said.
Oh, boy.
Those will never get old. Never.
They won't. Like celebrity birthdays.
No, they won't.
Which presented by Jarrett Companies, Inc. Above and beyond industry standard. So we've added a little new wrinkle to the end of the show with what day is it, celebrity birthdays, and now
the mashup.
What'd you miss?
I like the little Elton John behind it. That's pretty good.
You're welcome.
Yeah, nice job. Man.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, we leave all the shows all the time with our message out there to the men. If you're struggling or going through anything, please reach out and talk to somebody. Please reach out and talk to someone. We tell you all the time, your journey sometimes could be rough and bumpy, but I'm telling you, there's smooth road ahead. You might have a dark cloud, but sunshine is there. Remember, every bad storm runs out of rain, and we need you here. You're beautiful. We love you guys. Please, if you need to talk to somebody, go to theGameNashville.com, click on the Chase and Big Joe Show, and there's a click down for Unity Psychiatric Care. It's safe. It's affordable. Please go there, talk to somebody. They have offices here in Middle Tennessee, and they care. They care about you. You do not have to go through this alone, and help is just around the corner. Again, thegamenashville.com. Click on the Chase and Big Joe Show. Information is there for all the stuff you need about if you're going through something of mental health. I'm telling you all the time, we love you. More importantly, more than anything else in this world, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. On the way out, caller number 4 at 615-737-1025 will win a pair of tickets to see Lincoln Park at Bridgestone Arena on Thursday, August 21st. So that is just down the pike. Caller number 4, 615-737-1025. You can go see Lincoln Park at Bridgestone Arena Thursday, August 21st. DVD is coming up next. They'll give you their breakdown of the Titans joint practices today. They'll be joined by Teron Davenport of ESPN at 3:20 and 4:40 today. Trevor Maddich of ESPN. He'll give his take on Cam Ward and so much more. That is going to do it for us. Join us again at noon tomorrow. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.